Hello, everyone. My name is Sister Mary Grace Giaimo, and I speak to you from Koryezu Academy, our high school in St. Louis, Missouri. When our new freshmen enter our school each year, one of the first things they learn is what the name of their school means, Koryezu, Latin for Heart of Jesus, our particular devotion as apostles of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. As I speak, we are in the month of June, the month specially dedicated to the Sacred Heart. Earlier this month, I took a look at the readings for this year's Feast of the Sacred Heart, which falls on June 19th. The very first words I saw were those of the entrance antiphon. The designs of his heart are from age to age. This verse is from Psalm 33 and is sometimes translated as the plans or thoughts of his heart last through every generation. If the frequency of Ancestry.com commercials is any indication, people today have a keen interest in the generations that came before them. I myself had a glimpse of my ancestry while I was living in Italy. One of the highlights of my time there was the chance to visit the hometowns of my grandparents. There I learned a little bit about those remote mountaintop medieval towns and pictured what it must have been like for my grandparents to grow up there. Certainly very different from my experience of growing up in the suburbs of America. I also looked up a few generations back and picked up a few tidbits about some of my ancestors. I know that something of them still lives in me, but for the most part, our lives were unimaginably different. Yet, our readings for the Feast of the Sacred Heart assure us that we have one thing very much in common, even with our most remote ancestors in the faith, that God had a heart for us from the very beginning. And what are the designs or plans of that heart? Let's take a look at the first reading from Deuteronomy. Moses is speaking to the chosen people whom God had just liberated from 400 years of slavery. Listen to these beautiful words. You are a people sacred to the Lord your God. It was not because you are the largest of all nations that the Lord set his heart on you and chose you, for you are really the smallest of all nations. It was because the Lord loved you and because of his fidelity to the oath he had sworn to your fathers. Here we see his designs on us, love and fidelity, all the way from the time of Moses and his ancestors. But wait a minute, you say. He was talking to those ancients. They were sacred to him. He had his heart on them and chose them, not us. Well, let's see what he says next. Understand then that the Lord your God is the faithful God, who keeps his merciful covenant down to the 1,000th generation toward those who love him and keep his commandments. Did you hear that? To the 1,000th generation, through the ages, to my grandparents and their ancestors way back when in the mountain villages of Italy, all the way down to me and you. And what is that covenant he keeps? His merciful covenant. If you ever read the Old Testament, you know that those ancestors of ours promised God over and over that they would always worship him alone and follow all his commandments. Then time and time again, they found something better to do and someone else to follow. Then they would wake up and say, "Save us, God," and he would always forgive them, all the way to sending his own son, who would have a human heart to show us just how much love and tender mercy he has for us. So let's learn from our ancestors that we can really trust in God's love, mercy, and fidelity. Let's not give up on him as they often did. And let's remember that he will love and forgive us just as he loved and forgave them no matter what. That's the design of his heart, the heart he has for us.